Julie Ryan, noted psychic and medical intuitive, is ready to answer your personal questions, even those you never knew you could ask. For more than 20 years, as she's developed and refined her intuitive skills, Julie used her knowledge as a successful inventor and businesswoman to help others. Now, she wants to help you grow, heal, and get the answers you've been longing to hear. Do you have a question for someone who's transitioned? Do you have a medical issue? What about your pet's health or behavior? Perhaps you have a loved one who's close to death and you'd like to know what's happening. Are you on the path to fulfill your life's purpose? No matter where you are in the world, take a journey to the other side and ask Julie Ryan.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Julie Ryan Show. I'm Julie, your host, and I'm delighted you could join us this evening. It is, 4 days before Christmas, and it's wild around here. I'm sure it is at your house as well. I've been out getting presents and wrapping them and baking, and I make this cranberry pumpkin bread every year. I've made it for, God, I don't know, probably 30 years at least, maybe longer. And it's so funny because one year I didn't make it, and I heard about it, and now I hear from people. I give a lot of it as gifts. I hear from people, oh, I can't wait for your cranberry pumpkin bread, which means I need to make it. So I've been doing that and getting ready. My son Jonathan is coming in. He'll fly in on Christmas morning. He's taking a red eye from the West Coast. So I've been teasing him and saying, you might see Santa in his sleigh when you're up in the air, in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. So that'll be fun to have him home for a few days. And I hope all of your Christmas plans are going smoothly, and I hope you're enjoying the season. The reason why I do this show is to provide information, insight, and comfort to people all around the world by helping to answer life's unanswerable questions. And we have some Christmas elves on hold already here this evening, so let's go ahead and go to the phones and have a little chat with them. I think our first one is Amilda. Hi, Amilda.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm well. How are you?
Good, just fantastic. So excited that we're at Christmas week.
Yes, absolutely. Where are you calling us from?
I'm actually in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Okay. Where is that?
It's a teeny tiny little town about an hour south of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Great. All right. I got a picture of it. Is it in the mountains? Is it in the,
No, I am in between. Charlotte is 2 hours west of me. I'm in between Charlotte and the ocean, and I'm in an area called, they refer to it as the Sand Hills, and it's just very, very sandy around here. It's fabulous because it can rain like crazy. We can have a hurricane come through, and as soon as the rain stops, I can go out and ride my horse, and it's dry as it can be.
Interesting. So, interesting. Huh. I've never heard of that. All right. I think of the Barrier Islands as being really sandy, but it doesn't sound like you're that close to them.
No, we're about 2 hours and 45 minutes to the coast, to the beaches, like Myrtle Beach and Wilmington. Somewhere about that.
Okay, cool. Learn something new every day. You didn't know that you were going to be quizzed on your geography, did you?
No, I didn't, but, I hope I passed. I did like geography in school, so, it was a good course.
You get an A+, girl. Well, do you have a question for me this evening?
Well, yes. Just wanted to find out, try and understand more of what it is that you do in your scanning and how it could be applicable to those of us that may have, as we get older, and how our body changes.
Okay. So do you have a medical situation going on, or you just want a general scan, like you go in for a tune-up or a checkup?
Yeah. Well, we all go through those changes of, our bones change and our skin's always changing, and muscle and the things that we used to do in the past isn't enough anymore. And whether it's, osteoporosis that's coming on and all that wonderful, female stuff that we have all those wonderful changes. And I haven't done anything. I've just been going el natural, and so far so good, but I don't know if that's going to be continuing, the older I get. And so I'm a bit concerned and just don't really care for the traditional things that are available for us. I do, of course, those yearly things that we're required to do, and those have all gone pretty well for the most part. But I do know that, things are changing,
Right,
and
right.
we have a lot of issues in our family, like a lot of families do.
Okay. All right. So how old are you, Imelda?
I am 57.
Okay. You're a year younger than I am. You're just a child.
Woohoo! Just a baby. Woohoo!
Yeah, okay. So how this works is I raise my vibrational level to the level of spirit, and when we are spirits having a human experience in a human body, and we're all just energy. If you go back to your grade school science lessons, you already told us you were good in geography, but hopefully you were good in science too. And we were all taught that everything in the world is made of energy. And I'm sitting in my office at my big cherry desk, and it feels very solid. But I know that it's made out of energy. It's just energy that's vibrating more slowly because it feels solid. So when our spirits are in our bodies, they vibrate at a slower rate simply because the body has mass. And as I'm sure you were taught during your schooling, as Einstein says, you can't destroy energy. It can just change forms and change shapes. But energy is not, you can't destruct it, can't destroy it. It's not destructible. So what I've learned to do, I studied this stuff for a long time, Imelda, and I've been doing it for over 25 years. I laugh. I tell people I spent more money putting myself through school learning how to do all this energy medicine and intuitive healing and all of that. I spent way more money doing that than paying for 4 years of a college degree. So what I've learned to do, and I turn this on and off at will, by the way, is I raise my vibrational level to the level of spirit. So I make myself vibrate very quickly, very fast. And then I'm able to communicate telepathically, not only with spirits that are dead, but also spirits that are alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my eyes. I'll turn on my radar, I call it. It takes me a nanosecond. And I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to watch a laser beam go from my body here in Birmingham, Alabama, in my mind's eye, and it's going to come hook into you in North Carolina. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine shooting energy from your feet up through the top of your head, and it will illuminate your body much like an X-ray or a CT scan or an MRI. And then I'll be able to see in my mind's eye medical conditions that are going on, and then we just go from there. When I do a healing that's a private consult with somebody, Imelda, the way that works is there are 3 phases to it. First phase would be identification or diagnosis, because the energy always goes to where it's needed most first. And so it will show up to me. You may think my left shoulder hurts and the energy goes to your right knee or something completely unrelated. So that's the first phase. The second thing that happens is there's always some kind of an energetic healing that occurs. And I watch that happen, and I'll describe it to you. And I'm an inventor of surgical devices that are sold throughout the world, so I was in the medical supply industry for 35 years. So I have a general understanding of, a lot of that stuff. And I actually see energetic procedures happen, especially surgeries, that I saw the actual surgeries happen in my career in the medical industry. So it's pretty interesting for me. I know what they're doing, the spirit surgeons, if you will. And then the third phase on a private consult that we won't have time for this evening, but just FYI, is what happens is there's always some kind of a tear or a membrane in outside of our spirits that keeps the energy enclosed, if you will, and is a container for the energy. And when I see some kind of chronic illness or disease, there's either a tear or a hole in that membrane, and I'll dive into it, and I'll be shown some kind of a scene from the person's life, and it will be of some kind of an emotional trauma that's happened, either in this lifetime or a past lifetime. And that emotional trauma can be something as simplistic as somebody called you a bad name when you were 3 and it hurt your feelings to something really dramatic. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really matter what it is, unlike traditional talk therapy where you got to rehash the same trauma for 30 years, to cure yourself kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's all well and good. What I find is that this heals that tear in that energy field membrane instantly once we identify it. So I use the analogy, if you go to the pet store and you buy a goldfish and you're taking it home, you're going to have a goldfish in water in a plastic bag, right, to take it home. So the goldfish would be the body, the water would be our spirit or our soul, same thing, and the plastic bag would be the energy field membrane. That is the container for the body and the soul. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you on my radar, and I'm going to shoot energy through you, and let's see what comes up, if anything. So laser beam heading to you from here in Alabama. Okay, got you. All right, I'm seeing, first of all, low energy. Instead of you working off of a 200-watt light bulb, looks like you're working on about a 50 or 60-watt light bulb. I mean, it's not awful, but it's not what you're used to, is my guess, as far as your energy level. I'm going to shoot some energy into you and see if I can brighten up. So it's like I'm looking at an X-ray and most of the bulbs in the X-ray reader are out. So I'm shooting more energy into you to get it lit up more so that I can see better about, you need estrogen, girl. Are you taking bioidentical hormones by any chance?
I'm not taking anything.
Not taking anything. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot some energetic estrogen into you. Yeah. And you light right up. You're like a 500-watt light bulb now. So that would have been the healing. The energetic healing was I put energetic estrogen into you. Now, a couple of places you can go to find out about this and to learn about that. This bioidentical hormones are what the body manufactures, and it's a perfect molecular match. Pharmaceutical hormones have extra molecules added to their formulas so that they can be patented. And the body a lot of the time doesn't recognize what that is, what those formulas are. And most pharmaceutical hormones are made from pregnant horse mare urine. So, of course, the body's going, what the heck is this? And that's what you read all the scary statistics about women that are on hormones. But a couple of places you can go to learn about this. First one is a woman's website named Dr. Here we go. Let me go. Dr. Northrup, Northrup, and it's drnorthrup.com. She's kind of the godmother of bioidentical hormones. So go to her website. She's got books. You can look at that, but you can learn a lot just off of her website. The other one is Suzanne Summers, the actress, and it's SOMERS, just one M in Summers. And if you go to SuzanneSummers.com, she's going to have lots of information on hormones as well, because she's done tons of research on this. So I think the beneficial thing about being on hormones, the bioidentical hormones, Imelda, here are the beneficial things. It's going to keep your brain healthy, your bones healthy, and your heart healthy. It's going to help you not age, okay? And it's going to just keep your body in the kind of shape that it was in when you were in your late 20s and early 30s and reproductive. Okay? So I hope that information helps.
No, it's wonderful. Yes, and I'll look forward to looking at that, because I do know that I need to do something. I've been fortunate in that change period that I haven't been miserable. But, like you had just mentioned, I'm aging faster than my friends that are on hormones. And I know I'm seeing changes that I'm not seeing in my friends because they are on hormones, but I didn't want to go the traditional route. So that's valuable information, and I can't wait to get on here and learn more because I know nothing.
A couple more websites that you may want to check out to find a doctor. The first one is A, the letter A, the number 4, and then M as in Mary, A4M.com, and that's the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. And then the other one is functionalmedicine.org. So functionalmedicine.org. And on both sites, Imelda, if you put in your zip code, you'll be able to find a doctor in your area. Yeah, and I would look for a GYN who's board certified that specializes in this, and you'll find someone there. Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for calling. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye-bye. I believe our next caller is Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great.
Terrific. Please tell everybody where you're calling from.
I'm calling from London, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, wow. Terrific. Well, how are things in Canada? I bet they're beautiful.
Yeah, well, actually it's snowing right now. We have a little bit of that mixed precipitation, some nice slick roads.
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, I hope you're home and safe and warm and just enjoying watching the snow from the inside.
I am, in the warmth, absolutely.
Yeah, I bet.
Most beautiful way to look at it.
Exactly. I agree with that. Well, good. Well, do you have a question for me?
I do, actually. I have, maybe you can help me pick out the question because I'm not exactly sure how to word it. I'm mostly concerned for my father, who's just been declining for the past couple of years since my mom has passed, and he suffers from a few different ailments. But also with that, I mean, there's just been so much stress for myself. Like my sister had a cardiac arrest and was without a pulse for 10 minutes, so we thought she was dead just about a month and a half ago.
Oh, geez.
She's younger than I am. And then with my dad and then the passing of my mom and all that kind of was on my shoulders. So, I mean, I feel a lot of anxiety and stress, and I feel it a lot in my heart, in my chest.
Okay.
And I don't know but I really want to know where my dad's at in his levels as well. So I don't know what I should ask.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to you, and let me do a quick scan of you since your heart doesn't feel normal or right, and then from you I'll do a quick scan of your dad. How about that?
Oh,
does that work?
So awesome. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, girl. Here we go. Laser beam coming from the deep south, heading up to Canada. Okay, got you. All right. Yeah, you got some inflammation going on. Let me get that calmed down. What inflammation looks like to me, Jennifer, is just red fog, if you can imagine that. And how I get the inflammation calmed down. So this would be the healing part that I was telling Imelda, we get the diagnosis and then the healing part comes in. So I'm putting royal blue energy, which looks like royal blue fog, on it to get it calmed down. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. What you've got going on, how old are you, Jennifer?
I am 45.
Okay. Are you, let me see. Yeah, okay. I'm getting that you've entered perimenopause. Interesting, since we just talked to Imelda about this. Are you familiar with perimenopause?
I am. I work in a hospital as well, so I have a little bit of background knowledge there.
Okay, so what happens in perimenopause and also in menopause is sometimes our hearts beat weird, like we can get almost like a little arrhythmia going, and it's totally related to our hormones. Totally.
Awesome.
Totally. So your heart looks fine to me. You got a little bit of, when I see your heart beating, every once in a while it's like throwing off little sparks, like a sparkler would throw off a spark when you have a sparkler, and you know how
I totally got that.
I don't know how else to say it. Sparkles.
Don't wave that in your kid's face.
Yeah, exactly. You're throwing off little sparks. So what I just talked to Imelda about, are you on any hormones yet?
I'm not, actually.
Okay.
But I'm familiar with Dr. Catherine Northrup. She is incredible.
Yeah. And actually, I've been asked to be a guest on her podcast in February, which is very exciting.
What?
Yeah.
Very exciting.
I got invited last week, and I was like,
yay! Oh, good for you. Oh, my goodness, that's awesome.
So what I was talking about with Imelda, Northrup, Dr. Northrup, MD, Suzanne Summers, MD. For you in Canada, I would go to the functionalmedicine.org, and that's the International Association of Functional Medicine, so you can put your zip code or your whatever you call it in Canada, the equivalent
postal
of that postal code in the box. It'll come up with doctors that are in your area. Easy to fix. You're good. You're good. Okay. All right. Let me go. What's your dad's name?
Fred.
Fred. All right. Let's get Fred on the radar here. Okay, so I'm going to Fred. Okay, so when you say he's failing, he is in phase 2 of the 12 phases of transition. And what that means is that at this moment in time, he has started the dying process. Mm-hmm. Now, that can last, Jennifer, for days, weeks, months. It can reverse back. These early phases, what happens is they can decide that, they want to hang around for a while, and they go totally back to normal. But if you go to my website, AskJulieRyan.com, and you click on the tab that says the 12 phases of transition, you'll see graphics of these phases. So his spirit is out of his body right now. It's hanging onto the top of his head. It looks like a cartoon caption bubble on the top of his head, and his parents' spirits are at his feet. So let me ask him the 3 questions that I always ask everybody when they've entered the 12 phases of transition. So, Fred, are you ready to go? No. Are you in pain? Yes. Does that correlate with what you're finding?
Oh, yes. He is in a great deal of pain.
Okay. And then what do you need? His family is what he's saying. He just wants his family. He wants to spend time with you guys, with his family. So
and we definitely do. I mean, we all go up to see him and everything now. He's with, I think, his dementia. He's sort of stuck in my mom's death state.
Yeah.
And he sort of comes up with all kinds of crazy things that have happened, and how he perceives it. Which it's how he perceives it. So we don't really argue with him too much about it.
Right.
But it's just it's sad because, and he says it all the time, he just wants to go, and he just got out of the hospital and went back to the home care, which he got a really bad infection. He has osteomyelitis somehow he had an amputated toe on his left great toe, and somehow got a horrible staph infection from the nursing home. And I am so bad so that the skin was peeling back. Turns out he has osteomyelitis, so he's on 6 weeks of a really hard, antibiotic. But he just keeps saying, like, Mom's here. I just want to go.
Well, he probably actually is seeing her, because what I find is that when people are in the 12 phases of transition, they have one foot in our physical reality, easy for me to say, and one foot in non-physical. So I'm sure he probably is seeing her. And so, when he talks about seeing people, and the hospice people will even tell you that, the hospice caregivers, that when, expect your loved one to say that they're seeing deceased loved ones, and sometimes even religious figures like Jesus and Buddha and the Virgin Mary and people like that. So
he's going to see Paramahansa Yogananda, I'll tell you that right now.
There you go. Well, are you going to be with them for the holiday, hopefully?
Oh, yeah, he'll be coming. Like, he did live with me for a couple of years. And then just with everything, me working full-time, my husband working full-time, and my father actually made the decision a couple of years ago, like after I moved him in here, after my mom passed, he got on this waiting list for long-term care, and he made the decision when he was a little bit more with it, which makes that easier on me, because I didn't want to be the one to be like, okay, Dad, you're wandering out onto the roads, I must now put you into a home or something. And that would be so hard, I think, for somebody in that mind frame, just a big change, right? It's like a child with change. Right. It's hard.
Well, I'm going to need to run and get to a couple of other callers. So thank you so much for taking the time to call in, and have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy the time with your dad, and check out the Bioidentical Hormones Girl, and that'll help your heart.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much, and you enjoy your holidays.
Thank you. I will. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. We do this show, everybody, every Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific. The call-in number is 712-770-4160, and the access code is 533-677-pound, or hashtag. I'm dating myself by saying pound. And several places you can find this information. One is if you go to my website, AskJulieRyan.com, and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, you'll see all this information with the time zones. And then the second place is I send out a blog every Thursday morning, which is a question that someone has submitted online, and then I answer it. And this call-in information is in the body of the email. Also, wherever you download podcasts, it's in the show notes. So if you've got this podcast downloaded on your phone, it'll be easy for you to look up those numbers just in the show notes of the podcast. And I use social media, Instagram and Facebook, both under Ask Julie Ryan. And on the day of the show, I'll normally post something. Remember to call in, or call in with your question or whatever, and have the call-in information. And then lastly, we are now on YouTube. So the call-in information is there as well. And my YouTube channel is Ask Julie Ryan as well. So everything's under Ask Julie Ryan. While you're on my website, sign up for my blog. Take you about a minute to read it when it comes out, and I usually try and pick questions and answers that are heartwarming and interesting to everybody to read, and sign up for a private consult, and then we'll have a whole hour to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I tell people I'm a buffet of psychicness. I also tell people I'm a businesswoman that does woo-woo. So, whatever works. But it's fun when I get you for a whole hour and we can talk about medical stuff. I can scan your pets. We can talk to deceased loved ones, whatever you want to do. It's all lots of fun. So speaking of somebody that submitted a question online, this is a question from Linda in Pleasant Hill, California. And she asked, "Hi, Julie. Could you please scan my brother Joe? He's been courageously dealing with some very significant health issues the last several years. Joe contracted a rare blood disease about 8 years ago in Costa Rica," and she put in parentheses, "not malaria, and he has severe skin cancer everywhere. Apparently, the skin cancer is now in his skull, and the treatments have not been working. His doctor's considering a surgery to drill into the skull and remove the tumor, but it would require a skin graft that has a 50-50 outcome of being successful. If you can provide any additional insight or a clearing for him, I would be most grateful. Thank you." And here's my response. "Hi, Linda. I can only imagine how scary Joe's health issues are for you, him, and your family. Per your request, I energetically connected to you and from you to Joe. After telepathically obtaining Joe's permission, I scanned him and watched a significant healing occur. Here's what I saw. First of all, and most importantly, Joe's spirit is firmly in his body, which means at the moment he isn't dying. When I see that someone's spirit has exited their body, as in the 12 phases of transition, it's an indication they've begun the dying process. Joe's not there. That's what we were just talking about with Jennifer, with her dad. He's in phase 2 of the 12 phases of transition. Joe isn't in any of that, so Joe is not dying at the moment. I went on to say, I believe Joe's blood disease and cancer were caused by his being exposed to toxic chemicals, perhaps herbicides and or pesticides, while he was in Costa Rica. I see this a lot in people that go to what we would consider third world, fourth world, sixth world countries, where the laws for the environment are not as robust as they are here in the U.S. and in Canada and in more developed countries. So I believe this is what happened with Joe. And then I said, once I had Joe on my radar, I could see the skin cancer you referred to. During the energetic healing, I watched the splotches of skin cancer all over his body morph into a crusty consistency and be removed with what looked like a surgical sanding device. All that was left was new, healthy tissue. Next, I watched the tumor in his skull get removed and the remaining space filled with energy. It looks like clear fog with sparkles swirling through it and is used to generate new tissue. I see this a lot. I see this energy that's, like I said, clear fog, but it's got sparkles in it, and it generates new bone, it generates new tissue, it's almost like a stem cell kind of an energy that wherever it goes, it generates whatever's needed in that body area. So it's pretty cool when I watch that happen. Next, I watched the tumor. Oh, no, I read that already. Lastly, I watched 7 strains of Joe's DNA get resequenced back to its original formula. Geneticists call this genome editing. The correction of corrupted DNA, usually caused by environmental toxins, that's what corrupts it in the first place. So the correction of that corrupted DNA can direct Joe's body to stop producing cancer cells, manufacture normal cells, and heal itself. Hope this information helps him and gives you some comfort as well. I see this genome editing happen a lot with cancer patients, and I see these strips of DNA that come out of what looks like a chromosome, and there are these letters that make up the DNA formula, and I watch them get moved around and resequenced, and what happens is it takes it back to the normal instructions for the cells, telling the cells, okay, behave normally. Don't behave like crazy cells and create cancer. So I hope this helps, Linda, and what a loving thing for you to do, to be finding out what's going on with him and seeing how you can help him. So I hope that helps, and I hope you get to enjoy him for the holiday. All right, let's go back to the phone, and I believe our next caller is Susie. Hi, Suze.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for taking my call.
How are you, girl?
I'm doing okay, thanks. I hope that 2018 will be a year of no more doctors and injuries and all that, because it gets to be a bit old, all these questions all about similar things. So I'll just say that, last week I wasn't able to get on. I mean, I was on, but you had too many callers, so I didn't get to ask you this question. And so I was wearing last time I talked to you, I said I was going to a doctor for new nerve pain in my left heel. And when I went, he examined me. He's very nice, but when he examined me, the injury, the hairline fracture from the toe in that foot got re-inflamed because of just the exam, and so then he saw it all inflamed, and he said, now you need to go in a boot for a month, which that was what happened last week. Was I was in the boot, and I was wanting to ask you if that's in my best interest, because I have a hairline stress fracture in the right navicular bone and some other stuff there on that right foot. So wearing the boot on the left, starts to increase the pain in the right and the risk of the stress fracture getting worse. So in any case, since I didn't get to ask the question, I happened to be at the gym, and a woman said, she saw my boot, and she said, my friend went to this new doctor, and she's doing cryotherapy. And so I went yesterday to the doctor, and she actually thought I should not be in the boot, but she did an x-ray and saw the inflammation, and she said, yeah, it's really inflamed, but she thought it was going to make the right foot worse, so she said, go do the cryotherapy. So I went and did it, and then what happened is they did a Nordic tech compression boot or something, and they were concerned that doing all the squeezing might hurt that toe, but I went back to the doctor just, and she said, yes, do it anyway, do it, it'll be good for you. But what I found is that it actually, doing the cryotherapy, really hurt the nerve pain and hurt the area that's inflamed, so that was like much worse pain. So now my question is, should I be back in the boot? Is that in my best interest? And should I be doing the cryotherapy? Because she wanted me to do like at least 10 sessions, and I didn't know if the pain means it's healing. When the nerve pain starts to hurt, and the inflammation in that big toe, that hair, the hairline. Well, the hairline fracture is better, but the inflammation and arthritis, or is it something I shouldn't do because the pain means it's not to do? So those are my questions, and I just can't believe this. What's happened in the last 2 weeks. So
that's what you call a conundrum, girl. Jeez,
yeah.
Louise.
So it's like,
I hate, I hate that you're in a conundrum that involves pain. That's the worst part. Goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where you're calling from first, please.
The San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you on my radar. Let me take a look at your foot and see what's happening. Okay. Laser beam heading out to San Francisco. All right. Got you. Okay. It's so interesting, Susie, that you're on my radar, but I'm looking at you from behind. It's like I'm looking over your right outside ankle at the top part of your foot.
The
but
right ankle?
It's your right foot. It went to your right foot. The energy.
That's funny. That's where my original injury started, and that's starting to hurt more because of the boot. But all the issues right now are on the left foot with the inflammation, and the nerve pain is on the left foot. So.
Right. Well,
they're both hurting. It is hurting there too. But like I said, mostly because I'm thinking we're in the boot again. It's on the left.
Well,
like
I mentioned to Amilda, our first caller, I just trust where the energy goes first because it's going to go to whatever the most pressing issue is first. So, and it's interesting that I'm looking at it over kind of like behind your, not kind of like, but I'm looking at it behind your right foot over the ankle onto the top part of your foot, the right foot. So let me see what's up with that.
Yeah, that was all where I had my surgery 3 years ago in the sinus tarsi syndrome pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going in there, and all right. You've got some ligaments and things, and I don't know what that surgery is that you just mentioned. That sounds very complicated, but I can see some scar tissue in there. I can also see some ligaments that look like they've been mangled. And so what I'm watching happen, Suze, is I'm watching those ligaments. There are blue, very hair-thin blue energetic, this royal blue color that I see when it's something that's a body part, lines. This is, by the way, what I see is called Einstein's string theory. I learned just a few years ago. I've been seeing it for all these years, and I didn't know there was a name for it. But I'm watching those fibers when something's going on with the ligaments or the tendons, or you hear somebody say, well, I've got a really bad sprain. That's normally what's going on. And I see them get kind of twisted and mangled up. So what I'm watching watching happen in this healing on your right foot is I'm watching those ligaments get straightened out, almost like if you had a child and let's say you had a little girl and you shampooed her hair and she had long hair and her hair was like a rat's nest when she got out of the tub, but you were combing it to straighten out the hair. That's what it reminds me of. Is it straightening out these ligaments to get them back in position? And I can see the inflammation, and as soon as these ligaments are being straightened out, these fibers, energetic fibers in the ligaments, Susie, that inflammation's going down. And what's really funny, I just realized what I'm doing. My eyes are closed, and it's like I'm taking my right fingernails and I'm combing the left palm of my hand from my fingers. I'm doing it vertically, like what I'm watching happen to your foot, which is, I thought, Ryan, what are you doing?
Great.
And so I'm trying to explain it to you, but you can't see me. But that's hilarious. All right, let me go over to the left foot. I'm going to let that percolate for a minute.
Thank you.
And continue to work on that. Okay. That's being... So percolate, as soon as I said that, it's being wrapped in one of those neoprene braces right now to just stabilize it. And you have one of those, right?
No, I don't. I mean, I had one, but it's uncomfortable, so I hadn't worn it. Yeah.
Okay. I would look for one that is comfortable.
Okay.
As much problem as you have with your feet, I just think it's going to help you. And when it's uncomfortable, wear with a pair of tennis shoes or something. That you can put on that are going to be maybe a looser fit on your foot. Okay. Let me go to the left foot and see what's going on over here. All right. I can see the hairline fracture. I'm getting it's in your best interest to be in the boot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right now. Yeah, on the left side. And I'm getting it's in your best interest to have the cryotherapy. Both.
Wow, even if it hurts a lot, it means that it's a good thing. Oh, okay.
So why is the cryotherapy hurting? Why does the cryotherapy hurt so badly? And I'm getting that when you're having the cryotherapy, it's like if you had let's see, how can I explain this? If you had a board and it had a crack in it, and you moved it, it applied pressure to the crack, it will separate the crack a little bit. Following me so far? What the cryotherapy is doing is it's creating pressure in that little hairline fracture, but by doing that, it's prompting your cells to generate new calcium to heal the crack. Much like when you go work out at the gym and you lift weights and you do little teeny muscle tears, which encourages the muscle to repair and get bigger and stronger. That's what I'm getting. That's what the cryotherapy is doing. Now, I would Google that. This is all coming to me. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I'm watching happen is that little fracture. I watched when you were having the cryotherapy applied. I watched that little fracture get separated a little bit. And I'm getting that has to do with the healing process for some reason. So I would Google that, Suze, and see if there's any correlation and see if that makes sense.
Okay, and do you have an idea of how long to wear the boot so it doesn't start hurting the right foot some more?
I get 4 weeks. What did they tell you?
That's what he said. Yeah, I did. I've done a week now. So, and then do you see what's causing the nerve pain in the left foot that's on the inner side of the right side of the ankle, like down by the heel? It's like all around where the ankle bone is, down to the heel. And she wants me to get nerve conduction studies, but I don't know if that's in my best interest or not, or what's causing this nerve pain.
I don't get it's in your best interest to get the conduction studies at this moment in time. What I'm getting is causing the pain is the boot. Did it hurt before you had the boot on?
Yeah, that's why I went to the doctor, was the nerve pain there. But it got worse with the cryotherapy because usually it's just if I put my leg up in the air, like to stretch it on a machine, the nerve pain would really hurt a certain position. But now it hurts all the time after the cryotherapy last night right there in that area.
I'm getting that you need some padding in the boot around that area.
Oh, okay.
Make your ankle on the right side. So like the inside ankle of your left foot.
Yeah.
So go get some, if you go to the drugstore like a CVS or a Walgreens or whatever, they're going to have moleskin padding.
Okay.
That's real soft, and you can, I would use that, and you can layer that. It's sticky on the back. You can get the kind that's sticky, has a sticky stuff on the back, Susie. I would keep layering that on top of each other to make a pad. And make it be the thickness that you need to help, but it's going to be soft against your ankle. Does that make sense?
Okay, great. And I know they come with pads, the boots do. It's just they should be used in the front, but I could always try to put one on the side. So
try that too. But I would. But I got the moleskin picture for some reason. So I would maybe give that a whirl.
Thank you so much. It's really a real challenge in decisions, but thank you. And if you end up having extra time at the end of the call, I always listen to the end anyway. I would have a question about my son, but only if you had time in the end.
Well, I had several other callers that were on, and I muted them because they came on after the show started, and they've dropped off, so I have time. So
okay. Well, I guess I would ask if you have some ideas of what to do with my son is still having anxiety, and the Abilify that he tried didn't work, and the other things. He's tried different things. Now the doctor just started him on Risperdal, which is supposed to be very scary. He had, a tiny dose, but and Lexapro, and I just don't know if it's in his best interest. I had thought that, it wasn't, but they've tried Zoloft, and they've tried the Abilify, and lorazepam. So poor guy, he doesn't know what to do. It's been 6 months, and he's just wants to be his happy self again. And I just wonder if you see anything like B12. I know he had low B12, but like what we could do for him.
I heard a podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I think we've talked about him going to visit the Amen clinics.
Yeah, I did bring that up with him, and I actually called them and everything, but he didn't want to go. He felt like he didn't really believe in it, so he didn't think it was going to work. But yeah, that was like months ago. I did actually check into it and talk to them and everything. So he just wasn't believing in it.
Talk him into going to the Amen. Believe in what? He's a double board certified psychiatrist, and what he can do is he can scan your son's brain with this device called a SPECT imaging machine, SPECT, that you probably read about. But
I read his whole book. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah. For our listeners, what it does is it shows how the brain operates. It's not just a physical. Excuse me, got a tickle in my throat. It's not just a physical scan like a CT scan. This actually shows different parts of the brain that lights up when people are doing different activities. So that would be the first thing I would be going for, because otherwise all these prescriptions don't make any sense unless you know what's going on with his brain. It's just a shot in the dark with that, number one. But the other thing is, I listened to a podcast, and it was with Dr. Daniel Amen, and he was talking about that a lot of anxiety and depression is caused by low D levels, D3 levels, vitamin D, and also low omega-3 levels.
Yeah, I've been telling my son to take the D. He's got tested for D3 today, and I know he's low B12, and I've been taking fish oil for myself for years, and I totally believe in it. I don't take anything else but that, but he's just taking so many other things that he's resisting it. So I heard that, and I actually had my husband go listen to that, because I was very excited about that. So the one thing, too, someone thought maybe there's a slight possibility he could have that really rare thing pandas, because he's had a lot of issues with strep. Do you see that could be a possibility? I mean, he was tested actually today, so I
get a no.
What the results are. No. Okay.
I get a no on that. Yeah.
And the B12, you don't think that's a factor either?
I think the D3 and the omega-3, if you heard, I think I recommended it to a caller a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you did. I was very excited about that.
Yeah, I would check that. I would get him into Amen clinics and get him examined over there. I would figure out a way to get him in there, because all these different medications are just like throwing darts at a dartboard, and it's a shot in the dark. So maybe that's why he's not responding to them in the big picture, Suze, because he's not supposed to be on them.
Yeah.
Because it can be fixed with something that's as simple as maybe omega-3s and D3.
Well, I will tell him again, because I totally believe it. I mean, I take both of those, and they work for me. I don't need anything else. So okay. Well, thank you so much, Julie. And if you have an idea of where my Bluetooth might be, I know it's somewhere in the house because it's connected to my phone, but I've looked for hours and hours. Do you see it anywhere? I've just been looking everywhere.
I get it's in the house.
Yeah.
So email me and let me see what I can do to help you find it.
It's like a black horseshoe type.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you feel better. And let those men in your life wait on you over the holidays.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. All right. Take care, Susie. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Okay.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, too.
All right, we got a couple of extra minutes, so let's go back to questions that were submitted online. By the way, to the callers that dropped off, if you call in after the show has started, I'm going to mute you, but then I'll come to you eventually, so just hang in there, and then I'll get to you and get you on the air. So anybody that's listening, if you want to call in, just if you get muted, everybody's get muted until I come to you, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to necessarily get to you. It just means that the show's already started and trying to keep the background noise down to a minimum. So this was another question that was submitted online. I have lots of them submitted online, and I get to them in the order that they're received. So this is from Andre, and he lives in Lagoa, Portugal. And he asked, will I find my soulmate? And I said, hi, Andre. Yes, you will. In fact, you have, many times. Most of us believe there is but one perfect person intended to be our life partner. That premise is false. It's an entertainment industry concept concocted to sell movies, records, and books. The truth is, the people who surround us are our soulmates. They're our parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, and acquaintances. We are eternally connected to everyone we currently know and anyone who has ever been in our lives, and we interact with them in multiple lifetimes. Our parents could have been our children, spouses, or friends. Our boss might have been our employee. Perhaps our teachers were our students. You get the idea. Now, as for finding a romantic soulmate, the answer to that question is also yes. In order to do that, get involved in activities you enjoy. Consider volunteering for a charitable organization or joining a group of like-minded people, like a book or hiking club. Be sure to spread the word you're looking for someone special and ask people if they know anyone they think you should meet. Include parents and grandparents in the equation. They're sometimes your best matchmakers. Most of all, have fun with the process. So when I say get parents and grandparents involved, not just your parents and grandparents, Andre, but your friends' parents and grandparents and acquaintances' parents and grandparents, because they have friends who have children and grandchildren that are looking for somebody special too. So good luck finding your romantic soulmate. Next question. Jenny from Ukiah, California asked, hi, Julie. I just discovered your radio show. Thank you. My dad has stage 4 lung cancer, but is not yet in hospice. I want to be there with him when he passes on and to also be there for my mom. She's in denial right now about how sick he is and will likely have a hard time saying goodbye when the time comes. Can you please tell me what stage of dying my dad's in? His name is Robbie, and he lives in Indianapolis. I know it may not be possible for me to plan when I need to be in Indianapolis for hospice. However, I am trying to gauge when to be there for what may be a long period of time. I'm trying to plan around home and work so I can spend as much time as possible with my parents. Any insights you can share would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for all you do. And here's my response. Hi, Jenny. So sorry to hear of your dad's diagnosis. In order to get some information for you, I first connected to you in California and then from you to your dad in Indiana. So how that works, you heard me talk about that with our second caller, excuse me, Jennifer in Canada. And so I watch a laser beam go hook into whoever's on the phone with me or asking the question, and then I see a laser beam go from them to whoever they want information about. And I ask the person's permission telepathically before I scan them. I don't ever scan anybody without their permission. And if I don't get it verbally, then I'll ask them telepathically. And I just believe it's an ethical thing. You know, it's none of my darn business, and it's an invasion of privacy if I scan somebody without their permission. So I asked her dad's permission, and I got it. At this moment in time, he's in phase 7 of the 12 phases of transition. That means his spirit is out of his body and is attached to the top of his head in a bubble configuration. It looks like the balloon seen in a cartoon caption that represents the thoughts or words of a character. Again, go to AskJulieRyan.com, click on the 12 phases of transition, and you'll see graphics of this. I went on to say his parents' spirits are at his feet and anchor a horseshoe of angels extending out both to the right and left. There are several other spirits of deceased relatives, friends, and pets present as well. All of these angels and spirits are part of what I call the Welcome to Heaven Committee and are an integral part of helping us transition from physical to non-physical, and I put in parentheses, spirit form, when we die. Your dad told me he isn't ready to go, he is in pain, and would just like his family around him. He said he plans to be here through Christmas. He also said he'd love to have you home for the holidays and for you to come whenever you can. Again, Jenny lives in California. Her daddy's in Indianapolis, Indiana, so that's a long way away. It's not like she can jump in the car and be there in an hour. I went on to say everyone progresses through the 12 phases of transition at their own pace. I've seen people navigate all 12 phases in an instant, while others can take days, weeks, or even months. And I've even seen people in late phases rally and completely recover from their illnesses and medical conditions. That's what I was telling Jennifer, again, our caller from Canada, about her dad. Just because somebody has entered the 12 phases of transition, especially in the early phases, I see 1, 2, 3, the first 3 phases, sometimes they go back to not dying. And it's all part of their master plan for their life. I also said, please consider getting a copy of my book, Angelic Attendants, What Really Happens as We Transition from This Life into the Next. It will educate you about what to expect and can help comfort you as you and your family go through this experience with your dad. Also, please feel free to call into my show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for an update or schedule a private session. That's what I was talking about before. I'll be delighted to scan your dad and hopefully convey information that can help you with your travel arrangements. Sending big hugs. So when I work with a family who has a loved one who's dying, most of the time I'll do a private consult with them and then work with them through the next however long it takes for the person to go on to heaven. And that can be done via email or text or whatever. And they'll text me when something's going on with their loved one who's dying, and I'll say, okay, they're in phase whatever, and I can communicate with the patient telepathically as they're dying, even if they can't communicate with the family physically or verbally. So that comes in really handy, especially when people are making travel arrangements and all that jazz. So we are about out of time, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and a terrific season of these next few days leading up to Christmas, and enjoy your family and friends. And those of you who are finding yourself alone, go volunteer someplace. Go to a shelter and serve food. Go to a hospital and rock babies. Do something where you're around people and share the Christmas spirit by doing it that way. Thank you, all of you, for listening. Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow Julie on Twitter at AskJulieRyan and like her on Facebook at AskJulieRyan. For information on how you can ask Julie your question, please visit AskJulieRyan.com.